Hey, how y'all doing? We are back for another review of How to Get Away with Murder. This is the final season, episode 2. All right, so things are starting to get a little bit spicy, okay? So Annalise is back in class. She's back to teaching her law class. And there's two people that's missing, Michaela and Laurel. Laurel because she's been missing since last season. And Michaela because she's upset because she thinks that Annalise knows a lot more about her dad than she's been letting on. Or that she did let on in the last episode when she was forced to admit she did know Michaela's dad. And she lets Michaela know that she was an intern on her dad's case, whatever his case was years ago, prior to him giving Michaela up. And that's pretty much all she knows. That's the extent of her involvement. And Michaela tells her that she's not willing to believe that because Annalise is pretty good at lying and kind of smoothing things over with people. So, yeah, Michaela's not believing it. So she's just not going to class. She don't want to see Annalise, and I don't blame her. Okay, so, Oliver and Michaela are trying to track her dad down since the whole revelation of the fact that he may or may not still be alive. At this stage of the episode, the last time they saw him, he was located in some parish, which is, the little subdivisions in New Orleans. So the last time they found him, he was at a jail in New Orleans. So, after Hurricane Katrina, they lost contact. Well, the system lost contact of him as a lot of the records were lost in Hurricane Katrina, so they have to find another way to track him down. So either he died in Hurricane Katrina or he's somewhere else, but there's no record at the moment. Okay? So after that commercial break, we found out that Sam was actually married to Gabriel's mom, and she's upset that she's out to get Annalise because Annalise actually stole Sam from Vivian. Vivian is Gabriel's mom. The dude, Annalise's student that is Sam's son. Okay? So Vivian is Gabriel's mom, which is Sam's ex-wife. Hope that makes sense. All right, so, excuse me. Vivian claims that Sam actually... She gives us a revelation. She tells us that Sam actually chose her over Annalise. I guess she found out that Annalise and Sam were sleeping with each other or kind of flirting with each other. And I guess she gave Sam an ultimatum and he chose Vivian over Annalise. I guess that was kind of her dig at trying to get back at Annalise because after 25 years, she still wants to take Annalise down. Don't know why you wait until this season and this moment to get your revenge, but okay, girl. And she also asked Annalise, hey, did you really kill Sam? I guess everybody knows that Annalise possibly has something to do with Sam's death. So she also asked Annalise, did she kill Sam? Of course, Annalise denies all of it. And she also lets Annalise know, like, hey, the only reason you ended up with Sam is because I would not take him back after finding out that y'all was sleeping around. So good luck with my sloppy seconds. Basically, just trying to get back at Annalise. All right, moving on. So Frank filed a missing persons report on Laurel under the guise that he is her husband or fiance, one of those two. And he also asked somebody in the system, some lady at some office. He tells her, hey, I found a key. But I need to know who owns the safe deposit box. And, the lady he kind of sold her on the sob story of, hey, my wife is missing and this is a safe deposit box and I want to know what's on it, blah, 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 blah. And the lady, she gives in and she lets her know, like, hey, Laurel's name is on it, but because he couldn't prove his identity or his relationship to Laurel, she couldn't tell him who else was on the safety deposit box. However, there's a second person. So we're assuming that maybe it's Laurel's dad or mom at this point, right? So I'm sure we'll find out during the episode who's actually on the safety deposit box. So we'll find out after the break. All right, so now we are back from the commercial break. And at this point, everybody thinks that Tegan is wearing a wire because she's been being very suspicious lately, and she also has had some dealings with some suspicious characters in the past. So we will see how that develops and how Tegan may or may not be trying to backstab Annalise and the team. Maybe for her own sake, maybe on behalf of the investigators, we'll see. But we also go to another scene and we see that Connor has a client. And when he opens the door, there's no one at the table. So who is the client? But you kind of hear crying and you know, automatically you should know to look down. He looks under the table and it is an 8-year-old child. Yes, it seems like that is a side note, a running thing where a lot of these shows are tackling like the immigration laws, a lot of the, would it be immigrant or migrant? Whatever the correct word, I was getting mixed up. But whatever these children having to defend themselves. So I guess that is the issue we're tackling in this particular episode. So Connor has to ask for asylum for an 8-year-old and plead with the judge in order to allow him to stay in the country. And something about gang violence. So something happened to the kid and gang violence, and now they want to deport him. That should be interesting to see an 8-year-old that does not speak any English plead his case to a country that doesn't already want him here. But I digress. We're gonna keep watching the episode. Okay. So, sorry, that's my phone. Forgot to put it on vibrate. And Connor Oliver also asked Tegan to come in and translate for them because, again, the kid doesn't speak any English, so they don't know what to do with him. They don't know how to help him. So he draws a picture on his little notepad because, he doesn't speak, so he doesn't speak English, so he's drawing pictures. And it's of a guy holding a gun. And, they're thinking, oh, it's a gang member. Tell us about your gang experience in this country. Maybe that can help you get asylum. And Tegan is like speaking to him in Spanish, and she said, hey, who is this person? Why are you afraid of them? And he actually writes ICE on the back of the jacket. So y'all assumed it was a gang member, a gang banger in the neighborhood that had this kid afraid and not willing to speak. Actually, it was an ICE member that came in guns a-blazing to haul him off to a concentration camp. No quotes. A concentration camp. America, right? All right. So, moving on to the next scene. Gabe tells his mom, him and his mom are kind of going back at it. They have a little bit of a tumultuous relationship because we found out his mom's been in and out of jail, even as recently as the prior year for drug trafficking and different things, which I'm assuming stems from the loss of Sam to Annalise, and her life hasn't been on track since then. And, she's still telling Gabriel the story that, once Sam left for Annalise, he never came back. They never saw him again, blah, blah, blah. He's a horrible person. Whoop-de-whoop. Well, Gabriel finally tells her, like, hey, no, I saw my dad when I was 11. When I was 11, he came by my grandma's house and I actually met him. And he was like, well, didn't grandma tell you that I met my dad before? And she says her mom never told her that, which I'm not willing to believe that. I think her mom told her. She just wanted Gabriel to keep hating Sam as much as she did, is my opinion. So now that cat is out of the bag, yeah, that cat's out of the bag, and so they still have a tumultuous relationship. So we'll see how that plays out as well this season. Michaela tells us her and Gabriel sitting there talking, and he lets her know, like, hey, my mom's here, and she's so gullible. She's looking around and like, where? No, stupid. She's in town. She's not here in the room. But they talk or whatever. They chat and whatever. She goes back to the house with the other students and she tells them, like, hey guys, I have some good information on Gabriel. What's the information, Michaela? Well, Gabriel admitted to killing his mom's boyfriend. Stop it. Gabriel, according to Michaela, Gabriel killed his mom's boyfriend years ago. Well, that's interesting because you're here because you assume someone killed Sam. You don't know who. So Gabriel's whole thing was, who is my dad? Who killed my dad? Whatever. Well, if your mom's boyfriend had kids, wouldn't they feel the same way? I'm just saying that is so weird to me. Like, you killed somebody else's, I'm assuming somebody else's dad. Why am I cracking my fingers? You killed your mom's boyfriend, which had an impact on her. So I guess you just feel the same pain because your dad's dead. I think we're even on that aspect, but I don't know where I was going with that. So we'll see what happens after this next commercial break. We're back, and Sam has visited. I don't remember his name, but he's visited Laurel's dad in prison, and he's asking him like, "Hey, are you on the safe deposit box? Like, I just want to know where Laurel is. I want to know where Christopher is. I'm just trying to help, you know." And he's really frazzled because he really cares about Laurel. Don't really know why, but he really cares about Laurel, and he wants her and Christopher to be safe and to be returned back to the family, right? So Laurel's dad claims he has no idea, and then he gets ready to walk away, and Frank puts his key up to the window like, "Hey, this is the key to a safe deposit box. Her name's on there and someone else's name is on there. Do you know anything about it?" And he seems to not know anything about it, but he also lets Frank know like, "Hey, I understand that you're concerned about Laurel, but what I want you to do for me is to be concerned about Christopher," because he also goes on to say, like, "Hey, Laurel has basically ruined every man in her life. Maybe that's his feeble attempt to get back at Laurel, but he's right." As it comes to Wes, Frank, her dad, her brother, I think, like, all the men that she has contact with end up dead or in prison or just not in a good space. So Frank's best bet is probably to be concerned with Christopher. Maybe Laurel ends up somewhere else and he ends up with Christopher by the end of the season. We'll see. I don't know. I'm guessing at this point. Right. Moving on. So, where did I stop? I lost track of my notes. But, we move on to the next scene, and Oliver has found that Michaela's dad, he does some kind of old school hacking method, and he finds out that her dad was actually moved to a jail in Virginia and started a nonprofit organization for domestic violence members. Interesting. That could be taken a couple ways. He started a nonprofit for domestic violence victims. From what I understand, Michaela's dad shot her mom. Right? So her dad went to jail for killing her mom, which that's a domestic violence situation. So is that your atonement, or is that, hey, this is my good behavior because I have killed my wife and now I need to rectify my actions in the world? Don't know, but there was an article saying that the nonprofit was doing very good and he was being commended by the governor and all these different people and the warden. So, I guess some good kind of came out of the situation with him being locked up. But now Michaela, has a new lead. He's not in New Orleans anymore. He made it to Virginia, so let me go and at least try to see him for once in my life. So for once in her adult life, because I'm assuming she saw him when she was younger, but he gave her up. So yeah. So moving on, Annalise runs into Gabriel and she tells Gabriel, because in this season, Annalise is just trying to get everybody to be peaceful. She doesn't want nobody to take any action. She doesn't want any vengeance. She doesn't want anybody dead. She just wants everybody to be peaceful and to go their separate ways. Now, last season she tried to do that, but it was kind of under angrier situations. I think she kind of pissed everybody off last season just to force them away from her, but now she's trying to take a different caring approach just because of that whole envision your funeral and what people will say about you at your funeral kind of exercise that they did at the rehab last week when she was in rehab. So she told Gabriel, "Hey, why don't you just go back home with your mom to Chicago?" Because basically Vivian is there to take Gabriel home as well as take down Annalise for playing a role in Sam's death. Well, Annalise is assuming, hey, if you take Gabriel home, we can wash our hands and we'll be done with it, and maybe Vivian will just leave me alone because Gabriel is nowhere near me. So she's trying to, make Gabriel, I keep calling him Gabriel, make Gabriel go home with his mom, and then that whole thing will be resolved, hopefully. So we'll see. But we also see, moving on to the next scene, Frank is taking pictures. He's kind of trailing Tegan because Tegan is a mystery in this episode. This whole season, she's been very straightforward in all the other seasons, but now she's been a freaking weirdo. I don't know why. But he finds Tegan and he realizes that, was it Frank or Nate? One of them two dudes. They found her hanging out with Vivian. So why is Vivian and Tegan hanging out? Because there is nothing in the storylines that put those two in each other's path. So that's weird. So is Vivian and Tegan working for the FBI to tag team Annalise? Or is Tegan trying to get information and protection of Annalise? Because last season she protected Annalise. Thoroughly confused, but we'll see what happens in the rest of the episode, I guess. Right, so we are back, and Annalise is kind of asking Tegan like, "What's wrong? What's up? What's up? Like, you trying to set me up or no? Like, what's the end game here?" And she listens like, "Hey, the investigator sent Vivian to me, but I just kind of smooth things over and blah blah blah." Blowing smoke up Annalise's ass, I guess. I don't know what Tegan is doing because nothing has developed thus far. We're only on episode 2, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. And we also see that Michaela goes to Virginia to track down her father and realizes that he has been relocated to, if I'm not mistaken, El Salvador. I didn't really pay attention in geography, so is that in Mexico? I'm just asking because I'm not sure. Because later on in the episode, we found out she said she drove 7 hours. So whatever 7 hours from Virginia, that may be El Salvador. That's where he ended up. So he was in New Orleans and lost trail, and they lost track of him. Then he ended up in New Orleans, and then he ended up transferred to El Salvador. That may be the place. I can't remember, but whatever it was 7 hours from Virginia. She drove there. She got there 3 minutes after the guard had closed up for the evening, and so we're going to see if she's even going to get to meet him at this point, right? All right, cool. Moving on. We're going to find out because Bonnie, the queen of finding out information, has found out that Vivian was arrested for drug trafficking as early as last year. So, to me, that would look, Vivian is state's evidence. Okay? That's going to be interesting. Just hold on. Vivian is state's evidence because if you got trumped up, I don't like even using that word as a term anymore, but if you got trumped up on some charges for drug trafficking, that means you shouldn't be free. If you got picked up on drug trafficking charges last year, you have no business being a free woman today. Unless you worked out a plea deal. Hey, I tried to move these kilos. However, if you let me out of jail as state's evidence, I will be witness 673.9 to take down Annalise, a bigger fish. You know what I'm saying? They make those kind of deals all the time. Like, hey, you had 10 kilos in the trunk, but I just want the big fish. I want the big man. Now I don't know how Annalise is the bigger fish. Well, they have more on Annalise. They have a lot of murder charges and accessories after the fact, and tampering with evidence and impeding investigation. All those good terms, But I'm definitely sure that Vivian is state's witness because you got drug trafficking charged last year and this year you're free. You're definitely here to set Annalise up. There's no question about it. How you're going to do that and be successful because Annalise is definitely smart. I'm waiting to see how that happens. But yeah, so we move on. We're back with the 8-year-old that is asking for asylum from the courts, and Oliver feels bad for him. He brings him like some snacks and stuff, and we realize not only did he bring him snacks, he smuggled in a cell phone to help the kid out. And basically he downloaded an app on there because Tegan helped him out, but she's gone. She has other things to do. She can't just stay there and translate for them all day. So he downloaded an app on the phone to help the kid translate. Well, instead of translating, the kid gets on the phone, he video calls his mom, and they're speaking in Spanish, and they're really distraught because his mom had no idea who he is. Just like many of the ice raids that have been happening now, he's been picking people up out the street or picking people up at work or picking people up at home while the kids are at school, because all of that makes perfect sense. Because I'm not gonna get into it. Just gonna get off that. But and he calls his mom, so of course she wants to know where he is and what's gonna happen and all that good stuff. So we will see what happens after the next break. We are back from the commercial break, and Annalise tells Connor and Oliver, hey, just be cognizant. Do not ask the 8-year-old kids, the 8-year-old kid, do not ask his mom to come down there because that's that would be a reason for ICE to kind of detain her. Don't bring her to the jail because that's how ICE fishes them out. And even though the case is about her son, they could very well try to deport the mom as well, which is very smart on Annalise's part, because if the son is undocumented, the mom is more than likely undocumented as well. So very smart, wise move. So yeah, while she's talking to him, she is simultaneously in some seedy part of town buying a gun. Don't know why, but I'm sure that scene is important for some reason. I guess we'll find out next week at some point. So we move on and we see that Frank just got back in town. And as soon as he gets back in town, he you know what? Back a few minutes ago, I said Annalise was trying to do the right thing and, trying to end things on a good note. But however, in this scene, she gives Frank some meth and asks Frank to plant the meth on Vivian. Why you want the lady to go back to jail? Like, if she don't have nothing on you, there's nothing she could do. But Frank he's basically not even with the shits, so he flushes it down the drain. So that that is over. Annalise also tells us that Wes, in actuality, Wes is the other person that's on the safe deposit box with Laurel, not anyone else. It's Wes had the other copy of the key. Now, what is in that box, I don't know. They kind of showed a flashback of Wes kind of saying, I'll go to the cops with this information, da, 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 da. So there may or may not be incriminating evidence in that safe deposit box that will convict Annalise. Maybe that's what's in there. I kind of missed that little 2-second flashback, but and if that is the case, then that would explain why Laurel is gone and everything out of that safe deposit box is gone as well, because she's probably going to go to the investigators. Now, at the end, I've already watched the rest of the episode at this point. At the end, it's going to say that a state's witness is dead. However, Annalise is supposedly dead. So Annalise, Vivian, or Laurel. All of y'all dead or one? Because if Laura has incriminating evidence from the safe deposit box, she would be state's witness. If Vivian had drug trafficking charges and she's out already, she's state's witness. But Annalise is supposedly dead according to the screen credits. And it also says the state's witness is dead. So did Annalise turn state's witness? I'm confused at this point, but we're gonna write it out. All right, so we're in court and we're pleading the case for the 8-year-old, and as a tactic to kind of see the extent of ICE's damage to these people, Connor has somebody in an ICE costume of sorts come walking into the courtroom, and the kid loses it. He jumps on the floor. He's hysterical. He ain't with it. And that was just kind of sorry, I'm babysitting my nephew, and obviously he doesn't know how to be quiet. Yeah, so that was kind of a visual to let everybody know what the fear that ICE has impacted into these people, and the treatment of how ICE has been treating these people, and they kind of compared it to how we treated the Japanese people. Y'all look up that historical reference, but yeah, so the way the case came out is we kind of painted a visual of kids being in unlivable circumstances while being detained or awaiting trial. Connor was able to plead that case to paint that picture for the judge, and what they have is a continuance, which means he still has to come back and fight his case, but in that instant, the kid isn't going to be detained. So they're outside of the courtroom, and the kid is asking him like, hey, is my mom going to come? Where's my mom? And he's promising him like, hey, I'm going to get asylum from you, not only you, but your mom, and things are going to be peachy. And Oliver and Ash are just like, that's highly unlikely. Like, this is really not a dream. You want to sell that kid at this stage of the game, but the damage is already done. All right, so moving on to the next thing, we see that Michaela has driven the 7 hours to see her dad in El Salvador. However, he cannot be found. Why can't he be found? He can't be found because he died a year prior in jail. So, we'll come back to that. So he died a year prior. And she's upset, and she tells Annalise, like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. If you had not been holding a secret all these years, I've been your student. Because at this point, I guess they've been her student for their entire college career, 4 years. So if Annalise had told her up front, like, hey, I knew a little bit, like, I knew something about your dad, then, she may have met her dad before he died. So that sucks, and Michaela kind of wants to kill her at this point. Nate tells us that Vivian is working for the FBI, which we already know, and Annalise shows up to Vivian's house with the information that she just received and just spills it and says, hey, Vivian, Gabriel actually killed your boyfriend. So don't know why the information is important to Vivian at the stage of the game, because obviously the guy's been dead for a while now, but this is what she has made a point. All right, so we're in the final little spiel after the last commercial, and Annalise and Vivian are arguing, blah, 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 blah. The FBI is aware that Bonnie has created a false file on Gabriel, and she just said, she kind of did it for the company to make sure there weren't any issues, blah, blah, blah. And as a result, Bonnie gets fired. As Vivian and Annalise were arguing in this little scene, she tells us that her life has been downhill ever since Sam left because Sam was the only magic in her life. That is depressing. Because since Sam left her for Annalise, there's nothing else that has been a beacon of light in her life, for lack of a better terms. And Annalise just kind of listened to her like, hey, that wasn't magic. That was basically a lie, because he made her feel the exact same way. And Sam just kind of played both of them. He didn't really give a damn about neither one of them, in my opinion. So interesting. So we go back to Frank, and Frank was able to get access. He got a fake ID pretending he was Wes to go into the safe deposit box to see what was there. Well, once he gets there, there is nothing in the safe deposit box, and the most recent person to visit said safe deposit box was Laurel, and that was 3 days ago. What you doing, Laura? I think you've been missing longer than 3 days. So what you doing in the safe deposit box, and what was in there? Questions that need answers. All right. So Vivian and Annalise's little pissing match is over, and Vivian asks Anna. Vivian goes to Gabriel's house and asks him, "Hey, so you a killer now?" Like, yeah. So I guess Gabriel may get out of my kitchen. So Gabriel may or may not be responsible for the lethal dose that. So Gabriel may or may not be responsible for the lethal dose that was given to his mom's boyfriend, Paul. That's a tough situation, but yeah, Gabriel probably killed him. Everybody in this whole fiasco has killed somebody for the most part. So, yeah, that's about it. And the last scene flashes to Michaela in an interrogation room, and she looks like she's been crying, and there's a lot that's happening, and she knows her rights and knows that, hey, you can't detain me without a reason, blah 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 blah. And they'll know, hey, we have a reason. We have your fingerprints on a murder weapon, and said murder weapon has killed a state's witness. Okay, so somebody who's been snitching to the FBI on the team is dead, and Michaela's prints are on the weapon. So she's looking like I'm screwed at this point. So we will see what happens. That was the final season, episode 2 of How to Get Away with Murder, and I will see y'all next week. Peace.